Hello from Hawksong Weaving. I'm a physically disabled, chronically ill weaver, and in this video I'm going to be doing my adaptive warping method in real time and talking a bit about what goes into this method, explaining spoon theory, and having fun working with this merino cotton blend I got from my local charity shop. Come along for the journey. Life takes odd turns, but even tattered and worn yarn still has value. Tired joints and health flares don't have to stop the journey. Welcome to Hawksong Weaving, where all our paths are a little bit warped. So first off, let's get some definitions out of the way. What is warp, what is weft, and what is a warping board? Warp is the thread or yarn going from top to bottom, or vertically, on a loom or weaving. Weft is the yarn or thread going from right to left, or horizontally, on a loom or weaving. And a warping board is a pegboard that is used to measure out the length of the warp threads. For both health reasons and cost reasons, I don't use a traditional warping board. On average, a good, solid warping board that has been made for that purpose will cost between $80 and $150. They're also fairly large and take up a great deal of space. So instead, I use a coat rack. It's a fairly cheap coat rack too, made of pine. I got it for $8. It's an accordion wall coat rack, so I can stretch it to fit my warping space and keep it stable with the weight of my loom and the warping peg that came with my loom at purchase. This lets me warp in a smaller space while sitting down, and I can rest as I need to in between steps. It's light, so I can lift and move it easily without getting tired, and I can warp very quickly on it, with an average of 15 to 20 minutes for a scarf-length project. I have a genetic collagen disorder called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which means that sometimes my hands don't behave the way I want them to at all times. You'll see me in this video fumble with the thread a few times and pause and have a bit of a frustration, but because things are the way they are with this warping system, I'm able to pause and take a break, take a breath, and remind myself to be gentle with my own body. Beyond the cost and space-saving reasons for this warping method, there's also the spoons reasons, and I'm going to explain that in just a sec. Give me a second. So spoons, or spoon theory, is a metaphor that the disabled community uses to describe the amount of energy certain tasks take, as in there are a set number of different sized spoons in a drawer. You can only have so many spoons available to you before you run out and need to replenish your spoons/energy. I'm giving a virtual demonstration at I can never pronounce that name right, the Worcester Public Library. Can you tell that I'm a transplant to Western Massachusetts? It's getting there, pinky promise. But a clear example related to my giving a virtual demonstration rather than in person is that I have limited spoons or energy for travel. Due to fainting risks, I can't legally drive myself. I could take the bus, but I would be both limited in the amount of material I could bring, including my loom, and I'd still need to walk for a long distance while carrying what I could bring. So for the purposes of this particular demonstration, let's say that traveling one way to the Worcester Public Library uses up 3 large spoons and 6 small spoons. On an average day, my body can only produce 3 large spoons and maybe 4 small spoons, as opposed to a healthy body that can produce 10 large spoons and 10 small spoons. In order to get to the Worcester Public Library, I'd use up all of my large spoons and then have only small spoons left to provide the presentation, and after the presentation have no spoons left to get home. I could borrow spoons from another drawer, but that would run the risk of me having absolutely no spoons for an even longer time, and run the risk of me getting my health into what's called a health flare, which is where my symptoms, which I usually have pretty well managed, gets really, really gnarly for a prolonged period of time, and honestly, I'd rather not do that. Whereas if I do the presentation virtually, I only use maybe 3 small spoons. I don't have to borrow spoons, and I'm able to keep myself safe. I'm still able to do the presentation, but I've adapted the circumstances and surroundings so that I'm able to do it more easily, just like adapting my weaving. Traditional methods for weaving involve a lot of up and down and repetitive motions that use up spoons very quickly for me. So I've adapted the weaving methods to work for my body. For me, this means that I need to do my weaving sitting down so that I don't sublux or partially dislocate my shoulders or hips. Sitting down also means that I don't have to change my posture very often, which helps my postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, aka if I stand up too quickly, I run the risk of fainting. If I change my posture too quickly, I run the risk of fainting or having pre-syncope, pre-fainting symptoms. If you're still with me at this point, I'd like to say thank you for letting me yammer at you for quite a bit. And let's just enjoy some quiet time from now on till the end of the video. Enjoy the warping process. If you'd like to subscribe or follow, I really appreciate that. It helps keep things going. If you have any disabilities that require adaptation in your weaving or crafting process, and you'd like to share what those adaptations are, please feel free to share in the comments. I'd love to start a dialogue about this, as I think it's really, really important. And enjoy the rest of the video. Thank you so much for spending time with me here. I hope that this helped, or that you have something that you could take away from this that you'll find helpful later on. I'm so incredibly glad for the odd turn your life took that got you here, and I wish you well with your crafting. Enjoy.